Mike, I appreciate you taking the time with me. I know we've been chatting back and forth for a long time about a bunch of different things from the Facebook group and things like that. And I've gotten some stuff off for you, like some extra wheels from a couple years ago that you and I barely use even now. But Mike Gunter, welcome to the podcast, bud.
How's it going, man? It's good to talk to you.
Awesome. Yeah, finally. It's funny because talk to so many people online and like it's always been chat. Like we've been chatting for years, but we never actually like talk like
Yeah,
on the phone or like I don't see anything other than your profile picture. So it's cool to actually
yeah,
see you in person now.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know how your wife is, but my wife thinks it's weird that I have internet friends. I'll be like, "Oh, I know that dude." She's like, "How?" I'm like, "Well, we're in the same internet groups."
Back in the day, we weren't supposed to have internet friends or talk to anybody on the
That's right,
internet. Now I fly
man.
across country to FabTech to hang out with all of them.
It is crazy how small of a world it can be, and it's really crazy, like the connections you can make, and like, I mean, business deals and like networking with people online. Like, I've made a lot of good contacts, just reaching out and be like, "Hey, dude, you build cool stuff. What else do you do, that I may need help with?"
Yeah.
And it's worked out really. There's a guy here in town actually. I just talked to him today. We're helping him get his. He finally convinced him that he needs a table, because he was coming across town and getting us to cut like little brackets and stuff that would take 3 minutes to do if you had your own table. And
Yeah.
we're helping him set it up. But that guy, man, it was like July, I think. He posted on Facebook trying to sell some, custom ornamental on Facebook on the local groups. It was really good work. And I messaged him. I said, "Are you in?" We're in San Angelo, Texas, West Texas. I said, "Are you in San Angelo?" Or one of the deals where the guys are like 300 miles away. And he's like, "No, I'm here. I got a shop, this and that." And I said, "Well, can you come by?" And he came by the shop and we talked for a couple hours probably. And, I mean, he was here just the other day helping us with some aluminum stuff because he has things that he's really good at and we're not. It's not our specialty,
Mhm.
and he'll come over and help us. I mean, we collaborate on a lot of stuff. It's been really, those connections have been priceless for
Yeah.
us. Uh, you know, in the recent years.
Yeah, it's funny because as much crap as people talk on those Facebook groups, like they've been really really good. Like
Yeah,
that's how you and I've connected with so many guys on there. Like the four people, like the four guys who subcontract for me now. Like I've met them all on that group. Like
yeah,
I put a call out like a few months ago, and I was like, "Hey, looking to subcontract out more work." Blah blah blah. Bunch of people hit me up. Some people came by, some people, it didn't really it didn't align for us, but the guys I have now straight up came from that group.
hmm,
It was awesome. Actually, 2
yeah,
of them I met at an auction, well, a local auction, actually, now that I really think about it.
yeah.
But, like, I have a whole roster of guys in, like, that are I just wrote down. They came in, I know what they're good at, I know who to send work to, I know what their rate is, I know where they're located, like, it's been awesome. It's, like,
Yeah,
the internet for the welding business has been really, really helpful for a lot
yeah.
of us.
If you're not if you're of like the old school mindset of competition and all that stuff, if your brain works like that, you better rewire it or you're just gonna fizzle out. Like,
Yep.
there's I mean, we have well, I can tell you right now. So I own our shop. Rockin' 2, we own the shop. But there's 3 different welding companies on this property. It's us and, well, you've seen kind of the stuff we do. We do a little bit of everything. And then I've got a good friend of mine who has a company and he rents shop space from us. And he does more of like round tubing. Like I don't do round tubing. I'm not a round tubing guy. I wouldn't say my brain doesn't work that way, but I haven't tried to make it work that way. And he's really good with the bender. He just sits there and stares at it and gets it right. So he does round tubing stuff and like out here hunting, like varmint hunting and high racks that go in the beds of pickups and stuff, and on top of UTVs is big. He does all that stuff. Um, well, and then the other guy is does like barns and carports and like R panel fencing and boat docks and stuff like that. we're all best friends. And I mean, rarely does a week go by where we're not leaning on each other to do a project, whether I'm building, building a bunch of custom ornamental panels and hiring Lee to go install them.
Mhm.
If, Aaron has a ton of contacts for work that I do, he'll come with the job like, hey, these guys need this, this, and this. Team up on it, and we just do profit share on it, and it works to me. That works so much better than just going like, okay, I need to go hire 3 more guys to get this done, because odds are the 3 guys that you hire are not, you know the deal. You got to go through a lot of them before you find some good ones.
Sure.
And we just got kind of fed up with trying to find the right guys, so we just decided to kind of dumb it down and stick with each other, like with the core group of business owners, if you will, because I know that they're going to treat my job like theirs because it is theirs, you know.
Interesting. So do you have any actual employees, or do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we had, who do I have now? There's 5 of us now.
Okay.
Rocket has 5. We had 8 before, just a couple weeks ago, and all good dudes. It wasn't fitting.
Sure.
Let's just
Yeah.
say that it wasn't really fitting. We weren't getting enough stuff done. Some guys were bickering back and forth, like just stupid
Sure.
high school stuff. And I'm big on, we have to spend a third of our life up here. And we all understand that welding in a 106-degree shop is not going to be fun. But with that said, like, I don't want people to dread coming up here because of the shitty attitudes or a boss that's overbearing or whatever. So that I when I hire guys, I tell them, I'm like, dude, I will protect the culture of this shop at all costs. Like, it comes before anything. And if you screw it up, you'll be gone, like,
Yeah.
very, very quickly. And I think we kind of got to where there was a fog over the shop, and it's not like everything's done and everything's picked up and the shop's organized. Everything was just kind of bad, kind of in a funk. And so we made some changes and went back to a smaller crew. And honestly, just in this couple weeks, you can tell it's better. Guys are in better mood. Like, stuff is
Mm.
getting done. Um, you know, we've got a good group of dudes. We really do.
So I wanna pick your brain a little bit about that profit sharing thing that you have going on with other guys. So
Hmm.
you've got you and 5 guys in the shop.
Yeah.
Do you like, how does that work with, like, do the guys that you're like, the other companies that you're bringing in on these jobs, do they have guys? Do you split it up by hours? Like, tell me what a normal job, a profit sharing job that you're doing looks like. How's that
Okay.
structured?
So, okay, I'll give you an example. The 3 of us actually had a hand in it. We did there's a ranch, there's all ranches, and, you're in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Little spots in Pennsylvania that are pretty country, huh?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
most of it is all country. You have
Really?
Philadelphia and Pittsburgh that ruin it for the rest of us. You've got, like, Harrisburg and Lancaster right in the middle that kind of are like a blend of both of them, but, like,
Yeah.
everywhere else is very, very rural. So, yeah.
See, I had a teammate, and he was a roommate in college that was from Philly, and I love that dude. But you could tell he was from Philly. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Seeing a Philly transplant in West Texas, that talk about some stories, man. That was great to watch. But yeah, so like we're way out. It's very rural. We have 100,000 people in this town, but we are surrounded by 10,000-acre ranches, 5,000-acre ranches. It's huge, huge ranches. So, a buddy of mine he had family members who bought a place, and they needed a big, long range rifle range, 1,000-yard rifle range. And they wanted a
Nice.
shooting house and all the stuff for it. And so he brought that work here. He said, hey, this is what they want. We went and looked at it. So basically, he and my guys built the shooting house, and then we also built like all the target hangers and stuff. And then he and our other guy that's here, they went out together and set posts and set the target hangers in concrete, and shot everything with the rangefinder and all that to get it laid out. And then the 3 of us went out to set the shooting house and trim it out and do all that. So like we all had, you know, at some point it was only my guys. At some point, it was my guys and him. At some point, it was him and Lee. And basically, we all just kept track of our stuff.
Okay.
So if I'm in the shop and I know we've got two guys on it, I've got a spreadsheet. I've got a spreadsheet that has, their hourly rates, that has our overhead, and I don't know if it's right or not, because again, I'm doing all this by the seat of my pants. I've got our overhead number, and I'll kind of break it up. Let's say if half of my guys are working on this and half the guys are working on something else, well, then I'm going to take half of that overhead number that I've broken down by hour, and I put that on that job.
Mhm.
So, if it costs us without, I think it costs for about like $1,300 a day is what it costs for us to be here, and everybody working. Well, I'll just take half of that. Like these three guys out of the six spent today over here. Okay, so we know that's $600 right there, plus your anything extra materials or whatever. We
Mhm.
just keep track of it. Like if I bought the materials, I keep track of it. He bought some of the materials for the composite decking for it. He kept track of it. And so we do that, and then at the end we put all of our stuff together. We make our, because that was an open-ended deal. It wasn't a we didn't do a bid for it. We put
Okay.
it all together and get the final price, so we know exactly what it cost. And whatever the price was, we pull out that cost. We split the cost up. Well, he had, you know, Lee has a skid steer out there for a day. Okay, that's $600. So he gets that. That's all
Sure.
his. He bought these materials. I bought these. We split it all up, and then whatever's left, we just divvy it out.
Okay. Do you ever
So
do jobs where you bid on them with other guys with a profit? How does
yes.
is it kind of the same deal where it's just like, it, like this is how much we made, we split it like, between now. So let's say, um, let's say, let's just use round numbers. Let's say,
Hmm.
30,000. Let's say it's a $10,000 job. Okay, cost $8,000 to do it. Three of you guys went in on it. You and Rock 2 Industries did most of the work. The other guys came out and they did, day here, day there. Do you guys then split up the profit percentage wise as to how many hours and how much stuff you put in? Or is it like split down the in thirds
No,
or
I wouldn't say it's split in thirds. Honestly, we haven't really run into that because
okay.
we're very close,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, if we're bidding it and I know I need, I'm like, Lee, I need you to go install it. And that's gonna take a day and a half plus his machine.
Hmm.
Well, it's gonna take us 12 days to build the panels or whatever we're doing. Yeah, we're not gonna get done and split it 50-50. I'll be like, hey, give me a price to do this, and then he'll give me a price, and then I'll just go ahead and throw my markup, our profit markup onto it, and be like, okay, well, I'll give you this much once you do it. Does that make sense?
Sure. Absolutely.
Instead of at the end, it'd be like, okay, well, we should profit 40% off of whatever. He said his job would be $1,000. Okay, $1,000 job. His part would be $1,000 is what it would cost him. I say, okay, I'll give you 1,400 to do it. We just
Gotcha.
do it like that. We've
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
it. And maybe it doesn't work if we're not all, good friends. We're in the same place or we just help each other so much, but we haven't had any scuffles or any, no butt hurt or nothing like that. I mean, we're just, we're just fair with each other, and usually ends up with us trying to give each other more money than we should,
Yeah.
you know,
Very cool.
because I'm of the kind, I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm pulling one over on them or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want. Yeah. So it just worked for us, but it's not just those guys. We've done it with guys at other shops too.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, I just kind of thought everybody did that until you're asking all these questions. I feel like you've never heard of it before. I'm like, oh, I thought everybody did
No, 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 no. No, I've totally heard it before, but a lot of guys have questions about how it actually works.
how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So to
And there could be better ways. I don't know. Like I said, this is all by the seat of my pants. So
yeah.
it works for us. It definitely works for us.
How long you been doing Rock 2 Industries?
So we've been around since 2012,
Okay. Nice.
and the way it started as of like in 2012, I had never even touched a welder ever. Um, so uh, I got done with school, got married, moved back to the Metroplex, and there was a company that we used to do hunts for, like guide corporate hunts for, and they were a steel manufacturer of tubing. And they called and said, "Hey, he said, hey, we lost our scrapper. So y'all get a trailer, come down here, bring some cash. You'll make some money." And I mean, when I say I knew nothing about metalwork, I'm talking not a single thing. So I went down there. I borrowed a gooseneck trailer, and I went down there and took some cash and bought some of their tubing and took it up to Dallas, put it on Craigslist, and like 4 days later, I quadrupled my money. We're sitting there holding, 4 times what I put in. I was like, okay, let's do that. So I quit the job. I had got a job like loading trucks for an electrical wire company back in my hometown, and it was not. It was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. We were newlyweds, and it was I think we did like 21 days in a row. It was one of those where I don't know what they call it, but like when you go to clock in, if the flag's up, that means come tomorrow. Um, and we did like 3 weeks in a row where I was just passing my wife like in the hallway, for 3 weeks. I'm like, dude, this isn't gonna work. So I started doing this other thing, and we worked it up, and I got it basically built like a little network throughout DFW of all these people that regularly needed tubing. And not long after we started, I got to where I'd be down there, and I'd be on the phone telling people, hey, I got this, that, this. And by the time I got it and drove back up and through the Metroplex, I'd get home with an empty trailer. I'd do that a couple days a week, but like there's only so much you can buy and sell. So I was just kind of hanging out, not doing anything. And I was like, man, that was material for cheap. I should learn how to weld. And so I went and got or it wasn't Craigslist. A buddy of mine got had a Hobart 135 that he sold me for $100, and I got that, and started messing around in the garage, like with flux core wire and a DeWalt chop saw, the
Hmm.
abrasive saw.
Oh yeah.
And I did that for like a couple weeks, and I was like, I feel like there's a better way to do this. And I get back on YouTube, and like the welding tips and tricks guy. I don't know what his
Yeah.
name is.
Jody
Dude,
Collier. Yeah.
he got some badass videos, man. And look at his, and I'm like, oh, I need MIG gas. I'm like, what is that? Like, go get a bottle. Go get a bottle. Do that. So it's like I was just like discovering new things, and every time I discovered something, it was like life changing. Go from the DeWalt chop saw to a Craigslist half-inch bandsaw. Like a Harbor Freight bandsaw. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, dude, how did I ever live without this?
Yeah.
And that's how. And it was in my garage of our rent house. I uh, I remember I conned a guy into letting me build him a rack for one of those little Suzuki mini trucks. You know what I'm talking about? The
You
little.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He was
yeah.
like,
So cab over ones.
yeah, yeah. He was like, I was on a hunting forum. It's called Texas Hunting Forum. It's like I was irregularly on there anyways, and I was posting up some stuff that I was, this is what I'm working on, whatever. And this guy's like, "Hey, can you build this rack?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, I can build that." He's like, you got any pictures of the ones you've done?" I was like, "Man, I don't, but tell you what, if you don't like it, you don't have to buy it." He's like, "All right." And so he brought it over, and I had that thing. I had the thing for like a month. It took me like a month to build this thing. I can build it right now in like an hour and a half, you know. But it took me a month. There's a pile of metal on the ground and stuff, but I figured it out. I got it done. I think I charged him like $300 for this rack, and I saw pictures. I saw pictures of it on my Facebook, and from then it was like I posted up the progress while I did it on this website. I get another message from a guy like, "Hey, I've got these plans for a rack for a Jeep. You think you can do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, we've done a few of those." Just kind of BS my way through it and figured it out. And you know, the whole time it was funny. My wife was like, "Well, the first time you can't pay yourself for something. You got to go get a real job." I'm like, "Yeah, I've got it." And we, 13 years and never had to go yet, so, but, yeah, it just kind of grew from there. It was basically me and the Hobart, in the garage. And then, I needed to expand. We were getting more stuff. You know, renting a shop outright was a lot of money. So we were trying to buy our first house. So we found a house on a couple acres with a 40 by 50 shop. And, we bought that. And, then I had, my little brother actually, he was in high school. I think it was right after, yeah, he was in high school. He just got done playing football, didn't have anything to do. So he came and worked with me, and he was the same way. He knew nothing about it. And I taught him what I had learned up to that point, and then we kind of learned the rest together. And, I mean, he worked with me for, probably 4 or 5 years before going on and doing some other stuff. But, so that's how it happened. We just kind of worked our way up. And, somebody'd show up with something and say, "Can you do this?" And I'd just be like, "Absolutely." And they'd leave, and I'd try to figure out how we were gonna do it.
You still probably
If
do that, right?
well, yeah, yeah. Oh, my main guy, Matt. This that was a few weeks ago. We did something. We were trying to figure something out, and he said, he's a real quiet dude, but he was like, I have no idea how we bullshit our way through some of these jobs. But it's funny, when I was like that first year, maybe the second year, uh, so like I had no formal training. So like I don't know if a lot of guys like, well, Tulsa Welding School in Oklahoma, or they went somewhere, or I grew up doing this with my grandpa, or whatever. Dude, I don't know anything. And, so I had a guy, somehow got hooked up with a guy, and he had some handrail to do. And he takes me out to the place, and he's showing me these handrails, just like ADA handrails. And he's like, "Can you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." This, that. He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, we don't want to pinch these. We want to cope these joints. Can you cope the joint?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem at all." And, we got done. I got to my truck, and then I had to get on Google because I didn't know what coping meant. I was like, I didn't know what it meant, but I was like, "Yeah, we can do it, no problem, dude. We got you." And we did it, and it worked. So it's funny. It's funny how we got into it. But after that, I moved back out here. I went to college out here, and, that's where I met my wife and stuff. We moved back to the Metroplex. So we moved out here because her, uncle passed away, and he was the one taking care of their family ranch, and there wasn't anybody that seemed to be wanting to step up to take over that. So we moved out there, and I partnered up with a friend who had a deal for a couple years, and that turned out horribly. After 2 years, I left that, went back on my own, and got this shop over here. And, now we had 13 guys over the summer, for a while, doing some contract labor on some stuff. We usually run about 4 or 5 or 6 guys usually is what we've run for the past few years. But
Mm,
yeah, it's weird sometimes to like look up and look around and be like, how did I even get to this spot,
yeah.
from where we started? But, it's just, if there's a will, there's a way, man. If you got the guts to try and stick it out, it can easily happen.
Now, do you have like a aspiration goal for Rock 2 Industries, or are you just taking it as it comes? Like what does that look like?
Well, it's hard to say, because like day to day, you're just trying to survive, right? But, no, I do want to. I think the next thing that's on our kind of on my list is we need to get our office situation handled, and we need to
Mhm.
get it bigger. We need a bigger office to where we can get an office manager. My wife does it. My wife works from home, but she's a director at her company. Like, it's not she doesn't sell 3D mascara from home. Yeah, so she
It's not a throwaway job, yeah.
it's a real job. She has to leave, and I'm stuck with our 4 girls for 3 days, and it's miserable. She has to leave and go on business trips and stuff. She's really busy. She does all the books and stuff right now, um, but, she's getting low on time. So we're talking about trying to get somebody in. Well, there's some logistics to get around that right now because my office is like a sea container closet. It's
Right.
not really good for, to find someone who can come in and do it. So that's probably one of our bigger things right now. And then, the other thing that's, kind of our bottleneck and stuff is the coatings. So for a couple years now, talked about getting into coding, and we're getting closer and closer. And we probably would have already been there if we had a spot to do it,
Hmm.
like shop wise. But we're kind of in a weird spot. We're out of the city limits, but we are surrounded by houses. So it's a little tricky on figuring out, sandblasting and stuff. So we'd have to build like a whole facility if we did it here.
Hmm.
Be able to do it without, pissing anybody off.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing. Like we basically need to put up another 4,000 square foot building if we want to do it. So that's it, man. Even just materials and concrete right there, that's 150K probably.
Hmm.
That's not even with our labor to put it up. So that's I think coatings and getting that coding. I would say coatings, an office, and then probably like some administrative stuff. Like we need to get more organized on, like I've been working on an employee handbook,
Hmm.
like some SOPs on some of the stuff we do.
Sure.
Because it's weird because we started as like this deal. It's like me and my brother. Well, yeah, me and my brother. I can be like, hey, Chris, do this and this. I kind of want to do it like this and this and this. And then I, leave or go do what I'm doing. When I was like 6 guys and some of them are strangers, so now I need to be able to draw plans.
Hmm.
I need to be able to draw plans. I need to learn 3D CAD. We have a table. We have a 200-ton brake. We just have to get more organized really is really, I think that's the thing that's kind of hamstringing us right now
Sure.
is organization and having some expectations put, just not verbal expectations, have some that are on paper that they can
Dude,
go reference it,
SOPs are where it's at, man. That
Yeah.
was a huge change, a huge game changer for our business, man.
Yeah. Well, because
100%
it's
has to
like,
happen.
yeah, well, because you think like you have a guy do something, you're like, dude, what were you thinking? Like, why would you think that's okay? But it's not that guy's fault. It's your fault. That is
Yep.
my fault.
Yep.
It's not that guy's fault. Anything that happens here is my fault.
Hmm.
That's the way I feel. If you fail, it's because I didn't tell you clearly enough, or I didn't watch you, or whoever was supposed to watch you didn't watch you, who I'm supposed to be watching them.
Yep.
So that, yeah, it's common sense. They should rename it because it's not that common anymore. Like I don't know what they'll call it, but like common sense is kind of it's a little bit of a lost art. And like even I don't have common sense. Like there's shit that I'll do. And like the next day or I'll be talking to one of these guys that we work with. I'm like, yeah, I think you do it good. They'd be like, why don't you do it like this? I'm like, I'm an idiot, like we all have it, it's all in
Yeah.
there. So eliminating that as much as possible is what we need to focus on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just that we're adding on to the shop right now. We're adding another 2,400 square foot
Hmm.
that'll have 3 different work bays, and we'll have a 2-post lift in one of them so we can work on beds. 'Cause we build beds, but we also put on a lot of them
Okay.
for other dealers that sell them.
Hmm.
A lot of them have got away from messing with putting them on because it's like I don't know if you've ever messed with putting any kind of bed or body on the back of a truck, but it's like you got to be part welder, part fabricator, part
Mm.
carpenter. Like
Yep.
it's wild.
Electrician,
Yeah, electrician.
hydraulic mechanic.
Yeah, dude. I will tell you one thing that I just recently. I was just telling somebody about this yesterday. That like I don't think I can ever go without it again. Is I hired the newest guy. He's a mechanic. And like he's a legit mechanic. He worked in mechanic shop for years and years and years. And we hired him, and I was like, look, man, this is what I need. I was like, you don't have to be here right at set. We start at 7. I was like, you don't have to be here right at 7. Like if you want to come in at 9 or 10, that's fine. I'll have some stuff for you to do. And then other than that, you can piddle. Like I've got 3 trucks you can work on. And then even the other guys we partner up with, like he can work on their trucks and they can pay his wage. I'm like, so this dude, like he just rolls up. It's like, hey, what do you want me to, man, he'll handle all the brakes on my truck. Like this is the first time I've ever got the brakes done on my truck before I had to get rotors too, because usually I do it. Yeah, usually I do it and I wait till they're like, and so, I said something about brakes and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool." Then the next day he's like, "Hey, you not going anywhere for a little bit?" I said, "No." He goes, "Okay." And I look out there and he's doing the brake. I'm like, "Dude, this is great. It's awesome." Like he takes care of so much stuff that usually just gets put off until it's so bad it costs
Mhm.
more to fix,
Yep.
or where somebody's sitting on the side of the road. That was really cool. And like he can weld. Like we haven't got him in there yet, but like he stuck some stuff. He built himself some tools to like help with the job he was doing on. I bought my old high school truck back, and he's been like fiddling with it. And he like bought some tools, or not. He built some tools to like change the tires for me without going to an actual tire shop.
Wow.
I didn't even know it's possible. Yeah. He's like, I just built this for that. So I'm like, well, we'll get you in there and get you welding some too,
Yeah.
just so you can do it all. But that's really helped, and he's taught us a lot of stuff too, and we're gonna teach him stuff. So
Mhm.
I don't. I want to have as much talent as we can and as much diversity in our talents as we can, and we've got that, and I think we're lucky to have it. There's not much we can't figure out with the group of people that are here and around us and that we work with and stuff. Um, I think that's pretty invaluable.
Cool. Well, give me an example. So you said you do everything there. Give me like an example of what everything entails. Because I know West Texas. There's a lot of oil stuff there. Do you get into a lot of that stuff, or is it like auxiliary from that? Do you have like a specialty? You mentioned beds and stuff like that for trucks. So
Yeah.
give us a 3 minute idea of what you guys do in your shop.
Okay. So I can tell you, like, just for today, it's like we've got some ornamental panels that we just finished up that need to go to powder coat in the shop. We've got a manufactured bed that we're installing on a truck today. We've got a 24-foot, like a big truck bed that we extended and built a new headache rack on, that we are getting ready to mount on the truck. Supposed to be today. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but and then I've got we just processed some parts, cut some 1/4 inch plate and broke them into pans for another buddy of mine who's a welder, for him to finish out, and that's oil field stuff. And then I have a pellet drill that I just finished for myself that's getting burned off outside the shop. So like it's like there's no telling what we're doing
Sure.
at any point in time. And like as far as oil field, we don't go out in the field and like weld pipe. That it is this area is overrun with those guys. I'm not that guy. I'm happy for them that they go do that. I don't quite understand the attitude that comes with it of like I'm God's gift to the world because I can stick these two pipes together. Like what we do isn't that cool. A lot of people can do it, but sure, man, do you. But we don't do that. But like we'll build some platforms and stuff. We'll do platforms, and then I've got a guy who's a customer who turned into a good buddy. He's got some stuff going on where we're converting tanks. We're converting frac tanks into water filtration systems, like cutting the tops off, and we're dropping a track system in there where with stainless fins, and we're building some compartments in there and stuff. We did a ton of those this summer. Right, the day after everything flooded, this whole side of town flooded. Our shop had a foot of water in it, and my house flooded too. So we're dealing with all that. And then the day after he called, he was
Dang.
like, "Look, I just got a phone call, and it was I don't remember how many of these tanks it was. It usually takes us about 2 weeks to do one of those tanks. I think it was like 14 of them or something. He's like, do I say yes or do I say no? And I was like sitting there looking at all this stuff we were going to have to replace. Every machine he had was underwater. And I said, yeah, dude, do it. Like, we'll figure it out. And so we did that many of them between July and I think October. We kind of got done with them.
Yeah.
Did a ton of them, man. We had 13 guys. That's just unreal. Like I think this is 1.2 acres. It's not like we have a huge yard or anything. And there were just trucks and trailers and shit everywhere. I mean, people were like stopping, that were driving by. They're like slowing down and looking in there, and like neighbors like asking if we're okay. I'm like, we're great. Hope you like noise. But yeah, I mean, it really is a little bit of that. We're building whenever I first started, it was like firewood racks and fire pits, and then kind of got into smokers, and then with the hunting industry, got into like uh, quad pod stands, and just like the platform with the seat with the four legs and a rail. Got into those, got into building stands for box blinds, got into building deer feeders, stuff like that. That's what we were really heavy on for the first, the first 5 or 6 years. And then when we came out here, we got into more doing stuff for contractors. So like right now, I went and took elevation yesterday for a gate. It's like a sliding gate for a new build on a house, and a little bit of ornamental to go with it, and then a little bit of wood fence because again we just do whatever. So my buddy does wood fence. My buddy Lee can do wood fence. I'm like, hey, I'm bidding this. Tell me what to bid. And he did. I'm like, okay, that part's yours. I'll let you know if we get it. We got it. But yeah, I mean, it's really just anything. When COVID hit, a lot of that kind of like end user stuff, like barbecue pit, backyard stuff, hunting stuff, a lot of that stuff, it slowed down a lot because I think, the average Joe was holding on to his money.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily we had started doing stuff for contractors, and as far as I could tell, is like the people who don't spend, the people who are more conservative with their money, they kind of slowed down on the spending when COVID hit. And the people that had more money, they were just bored at home, so they just came up with projects. So we started doing all kinds of stuff for them,
Yep.
fencing, gates, whatever, um, just all stuff on big ranches. Um, that kind of took off, and really that's better. It's better money, to do that stuff than it is to, build 15 fire pits. But with that said, sometimes I really miss the old 15 fire pit days.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, like there's not a lot that we do anymore where I can move it around and flip it over myself, to work on. So, that's kind of a pain. But yeah, it's just a little bit. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. That's not me. I don't want to have a jig and just drop stuff in a jig for, 3 months straight. So we keep them guessing over here. And I think the guys that work here like that too, they have some variety and stuff. And sometimes they do it and they're like, I'd never want to do that again. It's like, well, you might not have to, or you might, we'll see. But, but yeah,
Can't promise you anything, but
right, right. But now we try to take care of them as good as we can because as long as they're
yeah,
taking care of us, we take care of them.
good man. What do you think is so since you've been doing this since 2012, what do you think's been the hardest thing for you to learn in business?
Saying no,
Okay.
like, and I'm sure you probably, which I don't know, like how did JMW start? Like, did you start it from scratch? Like, I've
Oh
never
yeah.
heard your little story. You started from scratch?
Oh, I started from scratch. I started from like I was working at so I went to school to be a mechanic
Uh-huh.
and to work on heavy equipment stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working for like, I was never unemployed. Like, I would like, if one person got slow, because like I was the mechanic and welder and fabricator for all of them. And that's like, in a small to medium sized business, like, I'm not super necessary. So, this is about the
Yeah.
time that like the housing crisis was out after I was done college and everything.
Yeah.
And I was always doing stuff on the side. And, it was just long story short, it got to the point where I was like doing a lot more stuff on the side. And my boss came to me and he was like, hey, like you're the highest paid person here and you're probably the least important as far as like the operation goes to like make money.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't say it in like that, but,
Yeah.
dude, I knew my place. Like, I knew that was
Yeah.
true. So and I was okay with it. He's like, "How can I help you go on your own?" And that was right at the time
Hmm.
when I took out a loan to build my shop on my property. I was like, "Don't fire me. Don't lay me off. Like, give me, like, a month to, like, fully get this money in my bank account, and then I'll transition out." And, I'm like, "If you could rent me a bay," because he had a couple properties. I say, "If you can rent me one of your bays in one of your shops, like, for 6 months until I get my shop built, I can do my own thing." So that's how I started. And then after that was, I mean, even before that, when I was still doing stuff, I worked out of a Pep Boys carport that I bought
Yeah.
on Black Friday for 150 bucks. Like
Yeah.
I have a picture. I was showing some guys like 2 days ago. I have a picture of when I had a come along in a tree to pull the old Bobcat welder up in high enough that
Hmm.
I can back my
Back
truck
of
under
it.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I started. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
I
cool.
built the thing from an old Bobcat welder, a job box in the back of my truck to what it is today, and it's been a hell of a ride.
I don't ever really think about it, but like,
Yeah, right. You look around at everything you got, and you're like, okay, I can see where like I understand why I don't have money because it's all right here.
yeah, I don't have money. I got a bunch of crap. That's why, like, I don't. Uh, I just like I kind of gauged it with my wife. We talk about money and talk about all this stuff, and cash flow sucks at times, and we're talking about it. And I'm like, look, I know that we're growing. She's like, how? I'm like, because used to $1,000 could solve a lot of problems for us, and now there's not a single fucking problem it'll solve. So, like, we need more than that. So I just felt like the net value is going up. It's got to be. That's what that means. But
So saying no has been the hardest thing for you to do in business, huh?
yeah, man, I'm a yes man, and like, I'm the guy that, like, if you come up with something, you come up with a project, you're like, can you get to this, next week? I'm like, yeah, we can. You'll walk away. I'll be like, dude, there's no way that we're gonna be able to do that. So saying no to stuff, like, you know, there's a point, I think, when you're starting out, when you just have to have money coming in, even if it's gonna go right back out, or most of it's gonna go right back out. Like, you have to do something to justify, having your business. But you gotta there's like a sweet spot where you gotta start looking at, like, man, it is not worth it at all to tell this dude yes to fixing these jacked up fenders on a 16-foot angle iron top trailer for, $100
Yeah.
plus materials. Like, it's not, you know, if you need $100, then yeah, do it. But
Hmm.
it comes to a point where it's not worth that. Like, you can't justify it once you really think about it. And I used to think, there's a shop across town that I'm buddies with, and their sign, it has their business name, all this and that, and then on the bottom it says no repairs, please. I'm like, why would you put that on there? And that was 5, 6 years ago that I saw it. Now I'm like, dude, I'm doing that on my side. It's, because we're kind of on the hoopty side of town. So, I'll have a guy come in and say, like, if they come in with a ragged out trailer, like, when they're walking up, I just know. I'm like, "No, I'll ask the guys, like, any of y'all want to do this after hours? Because we're not going to do it."
Yeah.
And we just tell them no, man. And people don't understand it, and that's okay. Like, that's, you know, if you want to help somebody out, that's great. But if you want to grow and want to make profit and stuff, it's sad to say that probably not the guy you want to work for.
Hmm.
The guy that lowballs you, and you know, can you do it for 60? It's like, oh, dude, get out of here.
This
But
conversation has already cost me $60.
yeah, yeah, for real, dude. That's the biggest thing. But yeah, saying no to stuff, and we haven't really had a problem with, like, firing customers. We've done it to one, but really, like, our customers are awesome. Like, they're they're good people. They understand. They get it. And at times I don't communicate how I should. That's like one of the things I'm trying to work on, is like, I'm trying to make the bad news phone call versus receiving the phone call and giving bad news.
Sure.
Like, your phone goes off and you see it and your heart drops, like, oh, you know, I'm trying to get away from those. So I'm trying to just update, like, hey, got bad news. But
Yeah.
honestly, they'd rather hear that. But our customers are great. Like, if somebody comes in and they want us to do something, we'll do it. If they're difficult, or if they're feel a little slimy, or if they're trying to do something shady, or Like we'll do it, and then we're just next time you call, we're probably gonna be too busy to take it in. I don't just want to be surrounded by quality human beings, whether it's working with me or working for them. That's just kind of what we go on. And I don't, if you're doing that stuff, then we just won't. And we've only had that once. Um, caught them cutting us out of a deal we took to them.
Hmm.
But it's like nothing personal. It's just I'm not going to be part of it, you
Yeah.
know.
So where do you find
So
most of your customers at? Do you like what kind of advertising do you do?
in the beginning, in the beginning, a lot of our stuff came from that hunting forum
Mm,
that I was telling you about. We would post, we'd do a job, post it. Somebody would have an idea, and then I was like, okay, well, let's build a fire pit, post it, sell it to you. Um, and I would run ads on there. I would run ads on Craigslist. Um, this is like 2012 to 2015, 16 or so. Um, I've run ads on Craigslist and got a lot of stuff from there, but you gotta feed through the Craigslist BS, which is now the
mhm.
Facebook Marketplace BS.
Yeah.
Um, but and then recently we don't really advertise. We've got a group of like contractors and stuff that keep us busy with things. I try to post on our social media, which I'm horrible at doing. I do it like once every 3 months, and then I'll get on a spurt where I'll do it like you could plan your posts to hit at different times. I'll sit down and do like 4 of them and plan them for the next 8 days, and then I'll never touch them again for 3 months. But
Does
we're
ads
lucky.
everybody.
Yeah, dude. It's
Ads
just
everybody.
well, and that's another thing too. It's like that's another thing we probably one of the other things that we need to talk about is getting somebody to. Well, I think if we got an office manager, like, dude, we're not a booming metropolis over here. Like, she's not gonna have 40 hours worth of paperwork to do. So hopefully we can find somebody who's got pretty decent at social media and like TikTok or Reels or whatever, or just get her like just take the footage and we could do it later. But we've done some Reels and they're not that hard to do, but like I just don't make the time to do it. It's
Yep.
like you work until if I'm lucky, I'm out of here by 6. Well, then hit it at 7:30. I got to pick up one kid from gymnastics, and then we got to eat, and get baths, and you blink and it's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going to bed because
Yeah.
5 o'clock comes early. You
Yep.
know, so it's tough to balance that out. But so really, like right this second, I mean, I guess it's just word of mouth, and if we build something cool, I'll share it on like the groups, but like. Oh, this kills me, dude. And I'm a big shit talker on Facebook. I'm like, I've been punched in the mouth before. I'm not afraid to get punched in the mouth again. But like, dude, the guys that try to advertise their stuff on welding business pages, like, do they not understand who's on there?
Talk about
They'll be
tone
like,
deaf to your audience. Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
they'll be like, yeah, Smith fencing and welding. We do whatever you need. Call us. You need. It's like, dude, everybody in here can do that.
Yeah,
Why are you?
exactly.
But I'll post something cool on there, just so like people can get ideas. It's like, dude, I mean, as fabricators, we're all just copying each other and
Yeah.
tweaking stuff, But sometimes that'll end up doing stuff, like we built some beds, like some aluminum beds for Can-Ams and Polaris's and stuff. We did deck one of those out. I'll post it on a group for that and get some interest. But I don't know. It's really just more to kind of show people what we're up to.
Yeah.
We when I had all the other guys, I was um I was talking about when we added onto the shop to try to get back into pushing some of that end user stuff like the smokers, barbecue pits and grills and stuff like that. Um to try to help cash flow, because it's we could do a job we do a $8,000 fence job right now for a contractor. We'll send them the invoice today, and if we're lucky, we'll see the check in a week. Sometimes it's a month. Versus your end user stuff, if we build two $3,000 barbecue pits this week, you come pick them up on Friday. You're leaving. You're not leaving until they're paid for.
Yeah.
Um, So we've talked about doing some of that to try to help with cash flow situations, that we all get into. Um, and we might do that, but now with a smaller crew, it's like just the past couple of days, I've been like, how are we gonna get all this done? I got to send this guy here, this guy here, this guy here. Like, it's like we've got too much going on, but yeah, and I think honestly, so you're talking about businesses and stuff, like you don't see very many successful ones that doesn't have like a supporting wife at home.
Mhm.
Like if they're not on board, I'm not gonna say it won't work, but it's gonna be two or three
Hard.
times harder,
Yeah.
you know, because it's not just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be late every now and then. Sometimes it's like we'll be on the way somewhere and I gotta turn around and go get my truck and leave, and you gotta do this without me.
Yep.
It's tough. It's really tough, and at times you wonder if it's worth it. But you know, I've never had to 13 years. My oldest kid's 9. Yeah, I've never had to ask permission to go to her school to you know visit and have a pizza party with them.
Mhm.
And to me, that's worth plenty.
Heck
That's
yeah.
that's worth it all.
Yep.
But yeah, it's that's important. But no, I completely forgot what I was talking about. That's amazing.
All good, man.
Yeah.
What is so with being this in this for so long, tell me about a financial lesson you've had to learn the hard way.
Oh, dude. Well,
Dig up
I
dirt.
could, yeah, I could teach you about I had to become an expert on CDL requirements for trucks and trailers.
Oh yeah.
And that was like a $2,500 lesson when I did not have $2,500, dude.
Yeah.
Um, uh, when I was, uh, when I was just hauling tubing, I got pulled over by it wasn't even a state trooper. It was a city guy that he was like the commercial vehicle enforcement. And I had a 3/4 ton Dodge pickup and I had a 32-foot gooseneck, but it was a dual tandem, rated for 20,000 with
Yeah.
farm tags on it. And I knew zero, dude. I knew zero about rules, regulations, what to say, what not to say. And he comes up and he's like, "Well, what are you doing with all this tubing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm headed down here to sell it to a guy." He's like, "Well, you should have told me that." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And dude, like an hour later, we're doing the safety check. He's like, "Oh, I got his list," and he's like, "Where's your fire extinguisher?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't have a fire extinguisher." you know, he's going through all of it, and I think he popped me with like 4 of the 27 infractions I had, and he was like, "Well, good news, I only get you for this." He's like, "But bad news, you're out of service, so you got to get a wrecker to haul you back." But I had a big rig wrecker because that truck, dude, we didn't run it across the scales, but it probably had about 6,000 feet of 2x2 by 1/8 square tubing on it.
Wow.
So that's what 18,000 pounds right there,
Yeah.
roughly. Like, yeah, we were overloaded, and he made me get hauled back up. So it was expensive. And after that, I became an expert. I learned everything there was to learn about it. I went and got a trailer and I figured out which trailer to get that was the lightest one so I could carry the most. Yeah, that was a pretty good one that just pops out just right off the bat. And then, man, I would say like just in the past couple years, I've kind of learned to like just jump when you need something, like just get it. Find a way to get it. So for us, with beds and really a lot of different stuff we do, we didn't have a press brake, and there's 2 different other shops in town who had them. They're cool dudes, dude. They would help me out, but they're also shops, so they have their own stuff going on. So like I remember it's a friend of ours. We built a bed for them, and they needed that bed, and we had to. It was like a 1 month process before we had the boxes and stuff. For the time we took it in and measured to the time we had the boxes built and on that bed to finish the rest of it, it was like a month. And it was because across town here is not 2 minutes; it's 30 minutes.
Mhm.
So I'm I'm designing and drawing the parts. I'm cutting them out, cleaning them off, marking them, and then I'm taking them across town to these guys, and I'm just, either soapstoning where I need the breaks or giving them a little half-ass drawing because I don't know 3D CAD, and it's sitting in their shop for a week or so before they can get to it. Then they get to it. So either they break it wrong or I design it wrong, you know, or the table cuts it a little wrong.
Yeah.
But it's 2 or 3 weeks before you get it back over here and realize that, and then you start the process over. And so I, it was costing us so much money. It was just extra cost. It was costing us so much extra revenue and time.
Mhm.
And finally, my wife was like, just go find a way to get a break. Just go get a break. And so we did. We went and got a break, and man, it's sped up like everything.
Mm.
And I would venture to say that just from the most months, just from the extra stuff we get for either other shops or other fab guys of breaking, it pretty much pays for itself just in that.
Mhm.
Not even counting the savings we have
Yeah.
from not going across town, not paying $6 per break, and all that. So, but man, I was so scared of getting into that debt for that break, and it's great. Like, we should have done it 2 years before that. So like, if you can justify that, I'm not saying like, don't go buy a 2026 F450 because you want a cool truck. Don't go get into
Yeah.
debt for that. Like, I would go get something that runs and is reliable. But if it's something that's gonna directly make you money, dude, freaking go get it.
Yeah.
Find a way to get it. If you got that far, you've got to have the will. You've got the will to make it work. Effort wise. So just do it. Like,
Yeah.
just jump in, do it, and
I like to say if it pays for itself within a year or 2, depending on, what size chunk it is, absolutely go buy it. Go buy it.
yeah, yeah. That's 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 the deal. That's the deal for us, man. It's like, I will say it kind of sucks buying your second plasma table. It's not near as cool as buying the first one. You buy the first one, it's like, dude, everything's gonna change, and then when it dies, and it's time for the second. It's like, shit. It's like, I just got to do this so I go back to where I was before.
Yeah.
But
Was
we
that from
are
the flood that you had in your shop, or is that
no,
just
no, dude. I will say right now, everybody says Hypertherm is the one to go, like the go-to brand for plasma. Dude, our Hypertherm was sitting. It was turned on, sitting in 10 inches of water, and at some point it turned itself off, right? Because we still had power in the shop when I came in here. It was like 5 in the morning when I came in. It was sitting in 10 inches of water. It was turned on, but it wasn't powered up. I picked it up in my panic and just pure freak out I was having. I pick it up and I like set it on the cross member of we have a Star Lab table. I set it on the cross member, but it won't go because everything's hooked up. So I laid it on its side, and water starts coming out of the top of it. I was like, it's completely toast now. Did we open that thing up, sprayed it out, put contact cleaner on it for 3 days, plugged it all back in, and dude, it runs just like it did ever before. Like,
wow.
yeah, dude, that's like, that is a testament. And our millers, we have one that's kind of acting up, but I'm not convinced that doesn't have something to do with the like I won't say ragtag, but like the group of guys we had, we just hired all summer and gave them machines.
Mhm.
That thing probably wasn't treated all that great.
Mhm.
But the millers, they were all good. Like, what did we have that went down? Our press brake was acting up because the pedal was underwater, so some of the electronics in that had to be redone. The table did act up for a little bit, but we got those kinks figured out. A couple machines went down, but yeah, I mean, we bought some other MIG machines, which, you know welders have got so expensive. I rolled the dice on some of those prime welds.
Okay.
Do you have any of those?
No.
So, you can get a 285 amp MIG for $999 shipped
Really?
with a 3-year warranty. And I bought one of those things. Dude, we bought it. We bought it and we went through, we bought it and immediately stuck it in one of these tanks in the summer. So it's like 125 degrees in those tanks. And all they do is weld 3/8 plate all day long. And that thing ran for like, I think we ran like 5 spools of wire through it in like a month. And it did break, but we shipped it off and they just sent it right back. We fixed it, turned it right up, and we use it every day now.
Just
And for
just
nine,
buy a second one and just swap them out.
dude, I have, so that's exactly what we're doing. We have two of those now. So we got like 3 or 4 252 millers. Then we have 2 of those prime welds. And I said I was going to get a third one and just put it up in the loft. And now we keep the boxes. So like when they come in, I'm like, hey, keep the boxes. Cause yeah, as soon as one breaks, we just
Yeah.
send it off and then grab another one. And like, see, I can buy 4 of those for the price of one miller right now. So like, I know millers are good and I like them, and I know Lincolns are fine too. But man, that's just the prices got so high.
It's hard to beat.
I'm failing to see the quality difference in the fence panel that we're welding. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
like it welds just fine.
Yep.
So yeah, we even bought one of their Chinchy little plasmas. It's like $280 because we have another Hypertherm hand plasma, 85 amp, but we needed another one out there, and I got a little Chinchy one from Prime Weld, and it still works, but definitely a little more Amazon quality than
It smells like China a
the
little
welder.
more.
Yeah, for sure. But like the MIG has like the full trigger function, the 4-touch trigger.
Yeah.
Like it's got some features on it, man. That thing works good.
That's awesome.
But
So speaking of
but
tools, like it sounds like your press brake was a pretty big step to help your business
mhm.
out. What would you say is a tool that you should probably get rid of?
Um, I've got we're kind of good at getting rid of stuff we don't use though. Like I've got I've got a like a stick. I got some stick welders we don't use. Like
Mm.
what is it? The Miller, the CST 280. It's like a little bitty stick welder. I bought that and we don't use that. It just sits around. We should
Yeah.
probably get rid of that. But I wouldn't say there's any like big ones. We've got a Grizzly bandsaw that's like, I don't know, it's like middle size. I thought we killed it the other day and I was a little bit excited because I was going to get an Ellis, but my guy brought it back to life. So I was like, oh, cool. We saved money, but I thought we were going to get a new tool.
Thanks, but damn.
So we got that. And then we do the dry cut, the Evolution dry cut saws.
Yeah, those things are amazing.
They are. And I really I'm of the weird opinion that I like the 10-inch miter saw better than the 14. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
Do you have one of the new, they came out a couple years ago, the 14-inch miter
Oh
saws?
yeah. Oh yeah. Love
So I
that
got
thing.
one of those. Yeah, I got one of those right when it came out. And of course, a high school kid that worked for me broke it. But, so you know how it's got 3 different settings where you can slide it out.
Slide it in or out. Yeah.
Yeah, you slide it out and it pins in 3 different positions.
Yeah.
See, so like when we're doing because a lot of the tubing stuff we do is 2 inches smaller. I like the 10-inch saw because it's like a smooth sliding saw. So you can start that cut right on the corner of the tubing every time and then like take it down like catty corner around. So it's like a perfect cut as far as trying to save the.
So like it doesn't like are you saying that 10-inch one doesn't pin?
No, it doesn't pin. It
But
just
it
slides.
slides. But it does
Yeah.
slide. Oh wow.
Dude, it travels like 8 inches or so. So like you can slide it all the way back and get it started. You can make that blade hit right, right on that corner,
Yeah.
and then go from this corner up here to this corner down here. And so it's not, because they say putting those blades on the flat is what burns them up. So I like the 10-inch. So like our setup now is actually there's 2 saws that we got, conveyors on either side, but then there's 2 saws. There's a Evolution 14 inch, just a regular chop saw, that we just use to cut 90s. And then right next to it, if you pass through it, you get to our 10-inch miter saw. So we just put
Gotcha.
them both on the same thing. And that way, if we're doing miter cuts, we can use that. If we need to do straight cuts or pipe or something, just use the 14.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. I follow now.
but
That's
but
cool.
man, I don't think I can't think of any tool that we like need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
I don't. We need to add shop space is what we really need, which I think that's everybody's problem, probably. Yeah, we need shop space. My wife was like, "Well, we get rid of those guys. We still need the shop space." I was like, "Absolutely, we
Yes.
need the shop
Yes.
space." Yeah, we needed it for a while
Yeah.
because like our main shop it's only 30 by 60. It's 30 by 60, and then like down the 60-foot side, it's built out with wood, like 7.5 foot wide. So if you call that 8, it's really like 22 by 60 is what
Yeah.
we're working out of. Well, there's a 5 by 10 plasma and a 12-foot, 200-ton press brake in there,
Hmm.
and all our welding machines. So like our workable space is,
Real small.
dude, I don't know, 700-800 square foot. It's like 12 foot wide by maybe 40 foot long.
Mm.
So that's not even that. Um, we're out of space. Like we don't have any space. So
Yeah.
um, I'm excited to do this other thing, and we've been gathering materials for like 6 months to do it. I ran into a dude on Facebook that was selling 3 bay doors, like 12 by 14 bay doors that he pulled out. He pulled them out, and the guy replaced them with insulated ones. And I think we got them all for like we got all 3 of them for $1,200,
Heck yeah.
and it's got everything. So, but yeah, that's really what we need to get going on next is the expanding a little bit. We could
Nice.
use another forklift. We kind of fight over that sometimes. But as far as getting rid of stuff, man, I don't know. I can't think of anything. What do you need to get rid of?
Most guys hate getting rid of things. I don't think I need to get rid of anything because I had this heart to heart with myself about 2 years ago, and I got
Hmm.
rid of everything that I needed to get rid of. And,
Yeah,
you know, I'd say probably the thing that we don't use the most is our cold saw. I've got it. I just
like
can't
a
bear
legit cold saw.
legit like Scotchman
Okay.
cold saw.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 3-phase. No, I'm sorry, it's not even 3-phase. Is it 3-phase? I don't know. We haven't used it in so long, I
I think they
forget.
usually are.
Yeah,
They're
I
usually
don't
pretty
think
rowdy.
this one is. I think this is a single phase one. I'm pretty sure it's an old Baywo, which Scotchman like bought out, and I've got it just wrapped up in shrink wrap because I just can't bear to to get rid of it right now. Um,
Yeah,
because like when you need a cold saw, you need a cold saw. I'm gonna
yeah.
have a tubing job, a stainless tubing job that comes around, and I know I'm just gonna need it. So I just, you know what, put it on a pallet, put it on the pallet rack, and just
If
one day.
Wrap it in plastic for 6 years, and then we'll need it.
Yep, exactly, exactly. I think I'm into it like $300. Like it don't owe me
Yeah, dude,
anything.
you
Like
can't get rid of that.
yeah, no,
You
like,
can't get rid of that.
what am I gonna do? Sell it for 1,500 and then need to
Yeah.
buy it again for 2,500 when I need it?
Well, see,
Like,
yeah, that's the deal. It goes back to this 1,500 solve any problem you have right now.
yeah, exactly.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. See, going back to like me not knowing anything about the industry or anything, I didn't even know. I didn't know why you would need cold saws.
Mm,
Like I didn't even know what they like what purpose they really did. I just thought I was like, why would anybody want that stupid slow saw? And then like talk to people who do like stainless and stuff. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I know nothing about stainless, so
yeah,
you know, yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty wild.
So, what do you think that most welding business owners are doing wrong these days?
I just think, and it's not even like I don't think it's just welding business owners. I think a lot of guys like they're trying to do it all too fast. Like, we all want to get big and we all want to do all these crazy cool things. But like, I think a lot of people put the cart before the horse.
Mm.
And, honestly, this summer running a bunch of guys kind of taught me that too. You get a job and you go out and you hire all these people and stuff, and you just think it's all going to fall together. It's not. You have to have that base in place. You have to have these like the standard operating procedures. You have to have like a hierarchy in place of who's in charge, who's going to explain this and that. We kind of did it this summer when we hired all these guys, and there's so much stuff going on, all this and that. But like when you really back up and look at it, like the output, if we doubled our workforce, we didn't double our output. We're just all running around like chickens with our heads cut off. Everybody's busy, everybody's doing stuff, but like if we would have stepped back and attacked it a little more tactic, a little more, a little smarter, I'd say we could have done the same amount of work with fewer guys and fewer overhead.
Hmm.
So like, you see guys that like they get a couple jobs and then they just pop off and go buy a welding rig, and it's not a 5 gas Chevy pickup with, they go get this big note, like there's a time and place when you need a write off and you need a note or whatever. It's not your first year in business. I can almost guarantee you that,
Yeah.
it's like people are so enamored by the, the fame, of like running your own business and this and that. And, you know, it's all about the image, it's like keeping up with the Joneses, but welding business style. And dude, it's like just get what you got to get to make some money. And like it's
Yeah.
better to stay it's better to stay small and kind of perfect what you're doing and like slowly bring in the resources you need to do it the right way. And like I said, I'm not practicing what I preach. 3 months ago I realized that I was doing that same crap.
Yeah.
um so people just get ahead of themselves. um and then I would say, guys just trying to be like cutthroat, go back to the whole like competition, you know, that's my competition. That's what like, no, dude, that dude does the same thing as you. You should talk to him because odds are he might have had a job last week, you know, come across his desk that he couldn't do because he only has 2 guys. And if he knew you and you had 2 guys, y'all could have done it together,
Yep.
you know. I think that's a big deal. That's like just blows my mind when people have that narrow mindset on like keep everything a secret. Don't tell anybody who we're working with. Blah blah blah. It's I think that's small minded to
Yeah.
think that way. But
Yeah, man. No, I,
yeah.
I I I agree with you on that. I totally do. So, if you were to do it all over again, what would you change?
Oh man, nothing. Right? I made it perfect the first time. Uh, Dang man, I don't know. I think I wish I could have learned some of the lessons quicker than I did. I will say that in my opinion, I think it's best to if you can do it on your own, do it on your own. As far
Mhm.
as like, partners and stuff like that. It's very, and not just in like stuff that happened to me, but like talking to other people. Like, there's not that, there's a lot of people that try to partner up early and like on paper. I'm not talking about what I was just talking about with like some guy who does the same thing as you. I'm not talking about partnering up on jobs. I'm talking about partnering up on the actual business. I would say do everything you can on your own before you do that. And when you do, really look into it and don't just uh, don't just look at it at face value. Look into that a little more. And then I would say really, if you don't know like how much it costs for like your business to be open per hour,
Mm.
per hour, per day, per month, whatever you do, then you're really just like you're just shooting blind.
Yeah.
And like it was like maybe 2.5, 3 years ago that I finally sat down and did the math and figured out what it cost for us to be open. It wasn't that long. Like some of these things, I've been doing it for a while before I really caught on to, you
Yep.
know, I ran this deal like it was a lawn mowing business I had in 7th grade. For a lot longer than I should have. And yeah, so yeah, it's kind of weird, but no, I mean that's I think that's what I would probably do different.
Yeah.
And I probably would have reached out. I would have reached out to contractors and landscape companies and stuff like that sooner if I could do it again, because
Mhm.
those guys will. If you find just a couple of those guys, they won't keep you employed, 365 days a year, but they will help you. They will, they'll add to your job list.
Heck yeah.
They'll add to your job list for sure and help you out. And it's just another good resource, man. Because like like the guys that do landscape stuff that we work with, if we get a job, we may get a job where somebody wants us to do a complete project. Well, we could do it now because we could sub them,
Mhm.
and just those connections are just, if you don't have those connections, you're really at a disadvantage, versus somebody who's got a guy for everything. I feel like we have a guy for most anything. If you call me for something welding related and I can't do it or we don't know, I could send you to somebody, who could do it and who could do it good,
Hmm.
because we don't, we just, we just try to keep a tight circle
Yeah.
and, we're all in the same mindset. So I think creating that network is a pretty big deal, which if you're, if you're a hardworking, decent human being, like it'll happen. You just need to get out there and, knock on some doors and maybe take some donuts to some places or, do whatever you got to do to try to get some business.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned spreadsheets earlier. What do you use for invoicing and quoting and time tracking and stuff like that right now?
Um, I just do it all on napkins. No, I we use we use QuickBooks Online
Okay.
for invoicing and payroll and all that stuff. It's QuickBooks Online. I To me, some people complain about it. I had one problem with QuickBooks Online holding a pretty big wire transfer once, but turns out my customer put in the wrong number, so it wasn't even them.
Yeah.
But it's just who I started with,
Mhm.
and it kind of grew from there to where like we take our credit card payment fee there, all the payroll's done, and I know I don't use this stuff, but um, I know that you can get set up to where your guys clock in and out, and QuickBooks automatically picks it up and figures and runs payroll and stuff. I don't do that because a lot of times, these guys will like forget to clock out or something like that. So I
Yeah.
always want to check it before we submit it. So I just use like a little Kimchi app on an iPad, a burner iPad I got for them to clock in and out on.
Okay.
But that's who we use for that. And then
Do you use any sort of project management software or anything like that?
so I just started. I actually wanted to ask you about this. I just started. I guess probably a couple months ago, we started using that Company Cam app.
Okay.
Um, and it's really cool. It really works good. We don't use a third of the features that it has, but what I really liked about it was that you could like I can go to a job site and I can walk it, and it uses AI to where I can walk through. I can just take a video and start talking. So you just start the video and you start walking through, and I'll come over here and be like, hey, we need a 4 foot walk gate right here. And I'll walk to the next thing, like, hey, this is going to be 3 foot panels. We're going to step them up to 4 foot right here. This and that. Hey, we need to pull this old existing fence out, this and that, whatever. And then after I do that, AI turns it all into notes. So it's like a whole summary, and it has pictures. It has like still shots of when you said it while your phone was on that, whatever you're on. And it summarizes what you say. Um, I can do that, and then two of my guys have access to it to where they can go back and look, and like just that right there eliminates a lot of the questions. We just had a big fence we did, and we probably just 2.5 hours from here. I went through and did a walkthrough of it by myself. I did one of those videos, and then I sent two of the guys up there, and one of them I spoke to him. I showed him pictures and I gave him that, and just off of that, They did that whole thing. It was like 470 foot. They did it, and I still haven't been back up there. Like, I saw the pictures. The guy called me, said it looks great. Like, but I don't feel like that would have happened previously.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. But with that said, that's really for bigger project for us. You know, we have a lot of like, I won't say piddly, but just like little stuff like modifying this truck bed or, you know, stuff like that. I don't have a great way to keep track of that stuff.
Okay.
You know, I've kind of done it all like the whiteboard. I've done a Excel spreadsheet. At this point, what I'm really wishing somebody had would be like, and I may sound dumb because it may in fact exist, but like, you know, like a almost like a virtual dry erase board where you could do it, you could open it up and have some details on each deal, you know, on each project. If you got 10 projects up there where the guys could look at it and open it up and look into the details and stuff like that. And we've done like Google Drive. We've tried to do that. I don't know if you're like us. It's like we'll do something real gung ho for like a month, and then it'll kind of peter off. You know, if I get too busy, I don't make the time to put those jobs in there because they're in my head. You
Yeah.
know, and that's, you know, I feel like that is a lot of our small business guys struggles is keeping that stuff uh organized. And you know, maybe that's where we're getting to a point to where we need like a project manager, you know, to to
Hmm.
come you know, just fill the role of project managers and just keep all that stuff organized.
Yeah.
Um that's maybe that's where we're at. I don't know. But I don't know where the money would come from to pay for them, but you know.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. But what do you use?
So currently we use Job Tread. Job Tread is it's good. It's good. It's good. It's not bad, but it's far from what is could be ideal.
Yeah.
We use QuickBooks for paying, doing taxes and stuff like that. Job Tread is nice, but it's not set up for welding business owners. It's not
Yeah.
set. It's set up for more general contractors.
Mhm.
And I found that there's a lot of things that we need to like work around to make it work for
Mhm.
us. And I'm torn around the idea of making something specifically for welding business owners because I live this. I've lived this for
Yeah.
11 years now. You know what I mean? I know what
Yeah.
we need. And
Yeah.
I'm just kind of picking everybody's brain about what they want to see in it, if they want to see anything, or if they're happy with what they've got, or what works for them, what doesn't work for them about the system that they're using. Because I am one small set of like I know what I need, but I want to know what
Right.
everybody else needs too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you
So
don't wanna dump that money on, all that work just for you to be the only person who needs it.
yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
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 So
I
I'm kinda just asking everybody because, like, that does kind of like, your virtual dry erase board is kind of like the dashboard of each job in JobTread, and, like,
yeah.
it works. The biggest problem is having people put in that stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's also starts at $200 a month, and it's $20 per user. If you've
Yeah.
got 5 guys, plus, you plus your wife, that's another
Yeah.
7 people times $20.
Mhm.
Like, you're 4 you're 300 something bucks right there, 300
Yeah.
40 bucks, $350 a month. Like, is there something that we could and then it also takes so long to, uh get used to it. It's a very, very powerful app. The problem is, you almost get lost in it because we only need about 25% of what it actually does.
Yes. Yeah.
So what is there something out there that is streamlined, not as cumbersome, doesn't have all the features, but we don't need all those features. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, because you don't even wanna try like, you watch those advertisements for these different programs, and, you know, it's like track this, track that. You can do this to have your guys do this and that, blah, 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 blah. Well, it's like, dude, I don't, that just makes me not even want to try, because that's too much stuff for me to try to figure out.
Yeah. And, like, I've
Hold on.
gone through the micro managing of everything, like, "Oh, we need an SOP for this, an SOP for that. You need to do this, you need to do that." It's like, all right, that got a little bit too deep, and nobody liked to do it, and it really wasn't even helpful. So, what like, how to like, where's that balance of, like, sharing enough information, but not making it
Yeah.
overbearing to the point where it
Yes.
doesn't work?
Yeah. We're a simple people.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can't get too complicated with us. Like the company cam is like, it's like you can assign tasks to different guys, and it's like, okay, well, that's great if we're doing $1,000 project, you know, that's great. And there's 6 different guys going.
Mhm.
Well, then you got to assign all of them, and then you have to teach these dudes like, hey, you have to sign in and do that. Well, just for instance, my guy who just came, he's 60 years old. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say he's not very computer savvy, you know. So so that guy, you assign him stuff, that's not gonna get, then it's just something I have to go in and repair, or say, oh yeah, he did complete this task. But the company cam one has a deal where like you can't click that you completed a task until you've taken pictures of the task completed,
Yeah.
which I'm sure that's cool if you're doing like, you're plumbing a new house, I'm sure that's great. But, if we're fixing, some random dude's fenders on his trailer for $100, I'm not going to put that in that freaking thing. So, that's the tricky part for me. And I don't know. I mean, do you like, are your invoice amounts, are they all, is there a range of them? Are they all high? Like, do you do $1,000 jobs still?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we
Yeah.
do few $100 jobs for our good customers.
Yeah. Just people. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only for the good customers, though.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say we're the same, yeah, we're the same, but it's just, I don't know. It's hard to, take the time to do that for a $300 job, cause like,
So
it's just like,
the thing is that, I feel like there is a cost to wrapping your brain. Like, I don't want to say it's not mobilizing, but it's like changing gears. There's a cost to changing the gears of, like, going from this job and then wrapping your head around this, clocking in, getting geared up, getting your tools out. There's a cost to that. So if I think the job's gonna take an hour, then, like, I need to build at least 2 or 3, because there's a
yeah,
there's setting up, there's me going and actually putting in the invoice and sending it out, and there's,
yeah.
receiving the invoice and documenting
Oh
on
yeah.
on the other end, and, like, there's a
Couple phone calls.
yeah,
Yeah.
phone calls, there's inefficiency. So, like, I'll do smaller jobs, but I don't skimp on the fact that trying to meet their budget. Like, every hour needs to be accounted for. And
Sure.
the
Yeah.
smaller the job, the more I am, I want to say, less generous with my time
Yeah.
towards them.
Oh yeah.
Like, if it's going to take an hour, and, like, does it really take an hour to, like, you know, document this, like, make an invoice and send it and then do the paperwork on the back end? No. But you know what? I'm definitely going to charge you an hour for it. And yeah, like, so I'm not, I don't short myself on those small jobs anymore. I definitely don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I definitely do that. I definitely do that as well. Like I don't pay as much attention to, you know, oh, traveling and grabbing materials for this and that, whatever. If we're doing a big old fence or something like that, but
hmm,
yeah, if you want me to cut out half a sheet of 12 gauge on the table, yeah, you're gonna pay for that. You
yeah,
know? And it's just, well, I think that's just part of growing, right? Like, in your first year, if you would jump to do that, you wouldn't even charge them for going across town to go pick the stuff up because you need the
sure.
job. But you know, if you once you get to a certain point, like you have to charge for that, or else I think doing stuff like that is some of the stuff where when you're trying to understand like where like, why didn't we do as well as I thought we would do in this time frame, whether it's this quarter, this year, whatever.
Mhm.
I think things like that that kind of snowball on you is where a lot of that comes.
Yep.
Like if you don't account for that, it, like if you don't put in for that day that it's going to spend for you to drag material out, drag machinery out to somewhere before you even actually start the job,
Yep.
then it'll catch up to you, and someday you'll look up and be like, oh, that's where that went. And that's kind of one of the things that I have just in the past couple of years really started to think about.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, Mike, I
That's
really appreciate that you taking the time here.
Yeah,
Is
man.
there anything
It
else
was fun.
you wanna add on to this, bud?
No, dude, I just want to thank you. I probably speak for everybody else that might be listening. Like, I've listened to this and I've taken advice from, like I've talked to some of those guys that have come on here and talked to you and like taken advice. Like I know our weld test that we do, I can't remember who it was, but I heard that on here. The guy, he just does a 18-inch square out of square tubing,
Yep, that
and
was
has them
Adam.
grind half. Okay, Adam, yeah. And then like, Bruce is in Fort Worth, not that far from me. I've messaged him back and forth, kind of like you and I have, with some questions about stuff, and took some stuff from him. And Austin in Louisiana. I'll talk to him. And man, that this is a great resource for people to get ideas and like figure out. Like you're helping people figure out some stuff on maybe why things aren't going the way they need them to. And that's cool because like if this is a niche, this is kind of a niche market. It's hard to find good fab shops and stuff, and a lot of them don't want to share their secrets. So having
Yeah,
this is really, it's been cool. It's helped me a lot. I'm sure it's helped a lot of people. So
awesome.
it's cool you're doing it, man. And someday I'll get over there to Yankee Land, and
Yeah, man.
I'll come through and get a cheesesteak or whatever y'all eat out there.
Yo, come on up for the Fabricator Olympics, man, September 12th.
Dude, I mean, it goes back to like how I'm all homeschooled. I don't know half of that shit. I I
Fake
just
it till
go
you
up
make
there,
it, man. You'll be
dig.
just fine.
I just go up there and be like a little school kid, just amazed by the skills and stuff. But
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I would love to. And if I ever make it to like Fab Tech or something, I'll hit you up.
Heck yeah, man. I love it. Let's do it.
All right, man. Well, it was good talking to you, dude.
You too, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take it easy.
All right. See you, Mike.